The first unusual aspect of Moto Perpetuo is that Carter asks you to make special mallets specifically for this piece. I have strayed slightly from the instructions given in the performance notes section of the score in order to make Carter's goal of sound quality more clearly discernible to the listener. So I use 3/16 inch diameter by 17 inch length craft dowels. I make the head sound with 2 layers of Dr. Scholl's moleskin, and I leave the tip bare wood. This makes a nice distinction between 2 sounds, both of which are very twangy, that is, rich in harmonics or overtones. This is the sound Jan Williams, who worked with Carter on these extended techniques, said that Carter was going for. I have heard some players use foam or felt for the head sound, which makes it just a bit less twangy and therefore more contrast with the tips versus the head's sound sections. Continuing on the topic of sound production, Carter uses the same 3 beating spots, namely normal, center, and rim, that he employs for some of the other pieces in this set, and some of the unusual strokes included elsewhere, like the dead stroke. But he does include a kind of stroke unique to Moto Perpetuo at the very end. Here he has you strike and hold one mallet head down on the drum head while playing repeated notes with the other. So the sticking looks like this. Now we get to the most fundamentally important aspect of this short but challenging piece: phrasing. Carter indicates 4 levels of accents. The strongest, here represented by number 1, is the first note after a bar line, but it can also be indicated by a stroke marking above the note other than the first note after a bar line. The next level down from that, 2, is the first note in a beamed group of notes. Less emphasized than that is 3, the first note in a sub-beamed group. And finally, 4, the unaccented notes, which are all of the remaining notes. When one note of the accented group is marked with a U sign, it should be played unaccented. Since the notes are flying by very quickly, it is a significant challenge to get all of the accents where they belong and not play any unwanted accents just because you are moving around the drums and at a fast speed and often at a very soft dynamic level. This phrasing must be heard by the audience for it to be a true interpretation of the work. You will need to begin practicing very slowly, using a metronome set on 16ths to control the tempo, and only when you are entirely comfortable with the phrasing, begin to speed it up little by little. One last tip about this piece. Consider a sticking where you remain crossed for a few notes to facilitate the phrasing, as in this slide.